Hey, Bears fans, you're watching Chicago Bears Now. I am your host, Harrison Graham. Lots of rumors and news to get into on today's show, so let's go ahead and jump on in. There's almost too much stuff to talk about, but I got the good stuff covered for you guys. Starting with this, should the Bears bring back Mitchell Trubisky? I'm going to give it one smoking J. A small shred of truth. I think there are scenarios where the Bears could bring him back, including this one that former Bears player Olin Kreutz talked about, saying there is a scenario where the Bears could bring back Trubisky, and that would be under a new GM and head coach. I personally think it's more likely he returns if Nagy and Pace are back, since Pace drafted him, but this was interesting from Kreutz. He said that, look, if you bring in a different regime, maybe you could sit Mitch down and talk him into coming back for another year, basically. Obviously, Trubisky's played well as of late. I need more of a sample size to bring him back, though. That's just my opinion. That's why it's only one smoking J. Does he deserve another shot in Chicago? I know a lot of you guys think so. Here's a larger portion of what Kreutz was saying, just a hypothetical here. He said, so say to yourself, you're going to hire Gary Kubiak, the offensive coordinator for the Vikings. Going to bring in Rick Dennison to be in the OC and offensive line coach, and we're going to be this outside zone boot scheme he was drafted for. Mitch Trubisky, good bootleg quarterback, as we have seen. He also said you bring in a GM, and that GM says, look, I'm going to give him a cap-friendly contract and see if he can develop into a good quarterback while I bring in a young guy and let him compete. Then he has the trust in the people in the building. Then you could see him staying. So Kreutz says the only way he sees him staying is if Trubisky is under a new head coach and a new general manager, which obviously Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace are certainly on the hot seat. So what do you guys think? Will Mitch Trubisky be back in 2021? Type Y for yes, type N for no. We'll make this the pinned comment on today's video. You guys can cast your votes right there. Will Trubisky be back with the Bears next season? Now, I've been clear, and I'm not going to shift gears now, although, things can change. Sports are fluid. What's true today may not be true tomorrow. But I think the Bears still need to draft a quarterback, which Kreutz even said. If you keep Trubisky, you still need to bring another guy in here that's not named Nick Foles. And that's a whole nother situation. If we bring back Trubisky, don't you have to dump Foles somehow, which is going to be tricky because he's owed over $8 million per year for the next 2 years. I like what I've seen from Trubisky in a smaller sample size, especially after the benching, right? Early in the season, up and down, looked really bad against a bad Falcons team. That's why he got benched. But since he's come back, he's played pretty well, and overall the numbers look all right. But as you guys know, numbers can be misleading, and there's a bigger story with Trubisky. At times, he doesn't read defenses as well, although I think he's been better. I honestly think sitting back and watching Nick Foles play was good for him. Now, that doesn't mean I think I'm ready to make him my franchise quarterback, but if you want to sign him to a cheap deal and draft a quarterback and let them compete for the job, I think that's fine. I would still overall lean going in a different direction, but the Bears obviously aren't tanking, so they may not be able to get one of these top quarterbacks in this year's draft. This is what it looks like. Trubisky and Foles, obviously Tyler Brown, the practice squad. Trubisky's a free agent. Nick Foles is under contract for a couple of more years. I think we know this. Foles definitely isn't going to be the future. Is Trubisky? I still say no, but one smoking J. I'm not going to completely rule out bringing him back. At 20-25%, you never know what could happen. Now, Chicago Bears Now, we are your one-stop shop for all things Chicago Bears, which is why we encourage you guys to subscribe and turn on notification. We got 59 subs on our last live video. I want to get 70 on this week's live video. So hit that subscribe button. Help us out. Let's continue to grow this channel. Let's get to 18,000 subs as soon as possible. Plus, for more incentive of why you should subscribe, I've been plugging out videos every single day, including Matt Nagy replacements if the Bears were to move on from their head coach, and Ryan Pace replacements as well. Go ahead and check out those two videos. I don't know why I said Nagy first. I've done them both, though. Go check them out on the channel. If Pace and Nagy get fired, we'll have a breaking news video on that as well. YouTube.com/BearsNow. Subscribe today. Now, speaking of Pace and Nagy, will Ryan Pace be back in 2021? This is also one smoking J. I'm not going to call it fake news and say there's no chance he's back. One smoking J. There's a small chance the Bears bring him back. Now, will Matt Nagy be back? I'm going to kind of tie these two together. I'll go two smoking J's. I think there's a decent chance, especially if the Bears finish strong, that Nagy could return. I think it's more likely he returns than Ryan Pace returns, but we'll talk about that more in just a sec. If you guys are seeing the Smokin' Jays for the first time, we launched these a couple of weeks ago. Here's the Smokin' Jay rumor meter. 0 Smokin' Jays, fake news. It's a smoke screen. Not going to happen. 1 Smokin' Jay, barely true. I think there's a possibility that it could happen, but it's a small chance, right? 2 Smokin' Jays, people are talking, 50-50. It could happen, which is where I think things sit with Nagy right now. It depends on how the season finishes. 3 Smokin' Jays, pretty good chance. I think it's pretty likely. And then 4 Smokin' Jays, bear down because it is happening. That's basically like 99.9% chance to really 100% chance that it is going to happen. Now, Nagy and Pace returning next year, the reason I'm talking about this is Bill Zimmerman, who's a producer in Chicago for a radio, Sirius XM, but then he also writes for WC Gridiron, I think, tweeted this out, had someone tell me that Pace received an unannounced 1-year contract to line up his contract with Nagy, which ends after, I believe, the 2022 season. If true, I think it's unlikely you see a Pace-Nagy firing this year. I think you see a new team president, fire Ted Phillips, to get a year to evaluate and make decisions after 2021. But a couple of hours later, if that, Bill Zimmerman retracted that tweet and said, after continuing to dig, I'm not 100% sure on this. It may or may not be true, but I'm going to delete the tweet so misinformation doesn't potentially spread. Apologies on being premature. So who the hell knows, right? That's why I've got 1 Smokin' Jay on just Ryan Pace, 2 on Matt Nagy. Just for the purpose of showing this, I'll leave it at 2 overall. I think there's a chance both could return. I think there's a decent chance just Nagy returns and Pace is gone, but there's also a chance they're all gone, right? And I still think that's probably the leading candidate in the clubhouse at the Bears clean house. But if they finish strong and play well the next 3 weeks, maybe 1 or both of these guys could return. The one scenario I pretty much will rule out is I can't imagine a scenario where only Ryan Pace returns and not Matt Nagy. Pace has been here longer. I don't think that's very likely. But if you were in charge, who would you keep? If you had to keep one and let one go, would you keep Ryan Pace or would you keep Matt Nagy? Type RP for Ryan Pace, type MN for Matt Nagy. If I'm keeping one, it's Matt Nagy. I'd like to see if I wanted to give a guy more time to develop and to improve this team, I would go with Nagy. But if you think it's Pace, you can go ahead and type RP. Now, today's show is presented by our sports betting partner, Bet Rivers, and you guys can make some money over there. Maybe you like the Bears' chances this week. If you do, go to chatsports.com/BetIL or chatsports.com/BetIN. Bet Rivers is going to hook you guys up with a 100% deposit bonus up to $250. Put down $250, they're going to give you $250 for free. You can sign up and deposit from anywhere, but to actually bet on games or do prop bets or any of that stuff, you must be in the state of Indiana or Illinois. So you Indiana folks, it's chatsports.com/BetIN. For you Illinois folks, it's chatsports.com/BetIL. Let's continue with our Bears rumors roundup. Oh, here we go. Trade for Zeke Elliott. This is fake news. This might be the worst idea I've ever heard, and just wait until we show you what the trade proposal was from Vincent Frank of SportsNot.com. This guy is actually verified on Twitter. I couldn't believe this one. He proposed a Kyle Fuller for Zeke trade package. Just wait until we show you the trade. Elliott is clearly on the decline, has a bad contract. He's slow. He's been outplayed by his backup, Tony Pollard, in Dallas this year. Why on earth would Chicago do this? Which, by the way, I don't know if you guys have noticed, David Montgomery all of a sudden looks like a really good back now that the offensive line is playing a whole lot better. Look at this trade idea. Look at this. Zeke to the Bears for Kyle Fuller, your best corner, and a 4th-round pick. You're giving a pick and Fuller for Zeke in that bad contract. This is the worst trade idea of all time. I mean, if you guys aren't all typing 1 for yes, I don't know what you're looking at because, A, I don't even know if Zeke's better than Montgomery at this point, and I'm dead serious on that. I think David Montgomery is extremely underrated. B, you're giving up your best corner and a pick for Zeke in that contract. Type your 1 for the worst trade ever. This is the worst trade I've ever seen. I'm not even joking. Look at the comparison between the two backs. Montgomery is clearly having a better season in a much worse offense, even with Dak Prescott out in Dallas. Come on, guys. What are we doing here? David Montgomery is a better back than Zeke, and even if you didn't have a decent back, why would you trade Kyle Fuller and a 4th-round pick for Zeke and his bad contract? It makes no sense whatsoever. So we're going to move on from that one because we got more trade ideas floating around the internet. How about a Mack for Dak swap? I'll give this one smoking J. I won't completely dismiss it, although it's extremely unlikely because on the flip side, and while I love Khalil Mack, why would the Cowboys do this? Why would the Cowboys tag? Because they would, first of all, they'd have to tag Dak and trade him, which they could do. But why would the Cowboys take on a really good defensive player, of course, but for a franchise quarterback? Whatever you guys think of Dak, he's a really good quarterback, and you don't trade him for a defensive player. If you trade a franchise quarterback, you do it for multiple first-round picks. You don't do it for Khalil Mack. That doesn't make any sense for Dallas. Look at what Dak did in 2019. He was a top 10 quarterback last year, and he was on pace to be one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL this year. He had like 1,800 passing yards through like 5 games or something crazy. The Cowboys, their backup quarterbacks combined just now past Dak's production this past week, I think, despite having like double the games. It's ridiculous. But I like Dak a lot. But why would the Cowboys take on Khalil Mack for Dak straight up? Now, if it was Mack and a pick, maybe. But yeah, that doesn't make any sense at all. Now, who will be the Bears' Week 1 quarterback next season? Will it be Trubisky? Will it be Nick Foles? Will it be Dak? Will it be Carson Wentz? Will it be someone I'm not mentioning? A draft pick, a trade, a free agent? Who will be the Bears' quarterback when they go under center next season in Week 1? Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Is Mario Edwards in trouble? This one's for smoking Jays. Now, we're going to let the legal system play out, but at least in the trouble of public opinion, that's already happening here. So here we go. TMZ Sports reported this earlier today, but there's police reports out there. He has been charged with assault. The female victim has claimed that he hit her across the eye, hit her in the arm, dragged her outside of a hotel room, down the hotel hallway. And this incident stemming from like October 17th, which, by the way, was the same day Mario Edwards and the Bears played the Carolina Panthers. So I don't know if it was after the game or what happened or what the situation is. Maybe it was the night before, late in the evening at, 12, 1 a.m., whatever it is, but not looking great. So here's the, he of course is denying the allegations through his agent Peter Schaefer, and here's what he had to say, saying, Mario Edwards doesn't condone domestic violence. At no time did Mario Edwards do anything that raised to the level of domestic violence or any violence where she started to scream and yell. Mario did exactly, or what he's been told, walk away and de-escalate the situation. So basically, he's saying, he's not denying that there was some sort of incident, but he's saying once it got, too heated, he walked away and that there was no physical harm from Edwards' side. Here's what the Bears said. They obviously released a statement. We are aware of the situation involving Mario Edwards Jr. We're doing our due diligence to thoroughly review and understand the facts. We take any allegations of this nature very seriously, both internally and with the NFL. I'm not going to give any strong opinions of this. This is one of those, I'm going to let the legal system play its course. We'll see if Edwards is available this Sunday. He's obviously been playing since that game back in October, and quite frankly has played pretty well. He's been better than Robert Quinn this year, so that would be a notable loss if he is unavailable. But obviously, domestic violence is not a situation that the Bears are going to mess with or that they should. So they will cooperate with the NFL, and we'll see what happens here. But that is the latest regarding Mario Edwards.